It's Wednesday. You know what that means. It means I'm back online. Yes, Randy's Guitar Addict back online. Let's hopefully tonight we're gonna get we'll get somebody on here on this side. We're gonna try. And my guitar. Ah. All right. Let's see here. Let's look at this. I'm gonna check this out. So make sure we got some. If you're on there, please say hello. Let's see if it goes. If we can see who's on here. Hey, I can see Maggie. Yes, or Marjorie. Marjorie, I can't see it. I can't see it. I can't read. So, Marjorie. So hopefully it comes up where I can read you guys. Is chat really good tonight? So good to see you on this. Let's turn this up so it's loud. So how's it going, Marjorie? How are things in Ocala? Steph is on here. It's like I talked to you the other day in when I was in Key West. Can you guys hear me? Just tell me yes, I can hear you. Oh, good. Okay, good. All right, awesome. Just wanted to make sure everybody can hear me and all that good stuff. Because on my meter it doesn't show a whole lot. So I just want to make sure. Yeah, so Steph actually reached out to me when I was in Key West. I was actually running around looking at guitars in Key West and other stuff like that. We're actually on a cruise. We went on a cruise last week, and naturally, me being who I am, we had to stop in Key West. So what I do? I went to music stores and pawn shops and everything like that while I was off the ship and wandered around. I think, Steph, when you got a hold of me, I believe we were coming back from the one music store. I had some stuff that I was bringing back, and we were in kind of a loud place. I couldn't really talk. So, anyways, let's see what we got here. I've actually tonight's guitar choice is the Paul Reed Smith Blue Mateo. Why is my light so bad? Let's see here. Any better? No. It's still just so. Anyways, the Blue Mateo Johnny Highland. Did you have fun on the cruise? Did I have fun? Yes, I had a lot of fun. I'll tell you about the cruise because a lot of people ask about cruising and stuff. We did the Virgin Valiant Lady. So we went on a Virgin cruise, which is a all adults cruise. And it's not for everybody. Maybe not for Randy. Maybe I'm too old. If you are very open-minded, you probably will like Virgin Cruises. I'm very open-minded about stuff. But one of the things I will tell you about a Virgin Cruise, about music-wise, we're going to kind of stick this into the whole music thing. They have some acts on the cruise ship. Virgin is a record company. That's where they kind of all start. Virgin Records started that way and grew to what it is now. And they had some acts on there. I don't know if they were trying to promote these acts or what, but they had one act that was like a Latin type band. It was a girl with axe. Yes. So they were kind of a Latin band. It was a girl, a guy with a keyboard, and a drummer, a cajon guy type thing. And this keyboard player had the worst keyboard I think I've ever heard. It sounded like it was a toy. It was terrible. And it was Latin music is fine if you understand the music and understand what they're saying, but I don't understand what they're saying. So it went over my head. And then they had another act where it was a guy with a cajon and a girl playing a guitar, and she was a blind girl, and she sang really well. But this guitar was like $125 guitar. I mean, it was something you bought at like a cheap pawn shop, and it sounded exactly like that. It was horrible sounding. It was just the worst guitar tone. You know, it just wasn't good. It wasn't good at all. So I don't know. But I don't know. If you check on my YouTube page and look at some of the shorts, I just posted a short of one of the guitar players on there, Matthew Lennox. Matthew's really good guitar player. One of these guys, it can do like this, just kind of like playing down here and playing stuff up here, just doing some, I can't, he was doing stuff like that. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's what I thought. But now but Matthew was really good. Matthew was very good. But one thing I will say about this with people on there, they didn't have musicians who were playing popular music. Usually when you go on a cruise, you want to go on there and you want to have fun and you want to sing along with the songs and just kind of dance the stuff you want. And it was like a lot of stuff they had never ever heard of, did not know what they were playing. It's original music, most of it. And that's cool if you're trying to get out your original music, but I didn't sign up for original night on a cruise ship. I signed up to go have fun and enjoy the music of stuff that I kind of liked. Also, Virgin is also, let me pull that down a little bit so you guys can actually see the guitar. Virgin is very, like I said, open-minded. They had a drag queen on there. So they had a few drag shows, which is interesting. Is that yeah, this is a guitar I actually play every weekend. This is my main guitar. So, but yeah, they had that. And then they had a huge hardcore rap thing going on. I don't know what that was all about. I couldn't I don't know. I like some hip hop, some old school hip hop. I'm all into that. That's fine. Yeah, it's beautiful guitar. Yay! Johnny Highland. So, but yeah, the whole rap thing, F this, F that, M this, just too much for me. I couldn't handle it. So, but they had that whole thing going on. So I wasn't impressed with that whole thing. Just all the music in general, wasn't a big fan of. Notice you guys and ladies, maple fingerboard. Yes. We love the maple fingerboards. We love those. Yes. Let's see what we got here today. Not warmed up today. So, anyways, so we were out there. We did find some stuff in Key West. If you look at the Guitar Addict Facebook page, you can see a lot of stuff that we brought back, which is kind of cool. Turn up. I'm not loud enough? Really? Let's see. Better? It should be as loud as hell in here. I'll tell you that. But anyways, I don't know if you guys have. I think the mic is just trying to auto level the signal. It may be. It may be doing that. And I've noticed a lot of things like with the with Facebook and stuff, and with YouTube, they kind of try to grab your signals and try to push them away. Especially if you play like, if I play something like. It might try to figure out that I'm playing copy music and they don't like you to play copy music. So, or covers, whatever. So, I don't know. Maybe that's part of it as well. Let's see if this mic thing actually does anything. No, that just music. We don't want that. We don't want to mute it. But I don't know if you guys saw the thing about the Rick Beato thing, talking about bands that he thinks are AI, and which is kind of wild that bands are actually, maybe there may be some new bands out there that are not real bands. That's kind of scary. I was just did my lessons before this, and I was talking to my student who works for a major magazine, and he said that they were having problems with the bots, AI bots, actually trying to tap into their whole servers, trying to steal their information. AI bands with AI audience, yeah. But he said these bots are actually attacking their servers and slowing the servers down. So when people go on there to actually go onto their servers to read stuff or maybe buy something off the site, it's super slow because these things are just attacking it so bad. And that's just crazy. Super, super crazy. I don't know what these, I'm not really sure what's going on with some of these things here. What are these? Okay, cool. All right, so that's what that is. So you guys, so Stefan and Marjorie, you are my top fans. I see that here. Awesome. Yay, I have fans. So, but yeah, so that was, yeah, it's kind of scary that, maybe in, well, less than 10 years, I say 5 years, 5 to 6 years, we may have AI everything. What do you think about the state of live music? Is it really going away? Good question. I don't think it's going away. I think what's happening is a lot of as I tell people, there's a cycle to music. With everything, there is a cycle, but a lot of people don't understand the cycle. And I'm gonna explain it to you, and I'm gonna explain it just the same way I do with guitars, because guitars do the same thing. And I kind of figured it out through guitars. What happens is every 30, 35 years, we have a new round of music. And I know if you're new to the channel, I welcome you. Please hit the like and subscribe button, and please become part of the channel and all that good stuff. But if you've been on the channel, you've heard me talk about this before, because this is just kind of one of these things that keeps coming up. The cycle goes around. So every about 30, 35 years, what happens is you're in high school, you get out of high school, you go to college, whatever, you get married, you have kids, you stop listening to your stuff, and then you go on and you're listening to your kids' stuff. Well, once Junior gets old enough to where he's out of the house or she's out of the house, whatever, you go back out. And when you go back out, you don't want to hear somebody playing because that's too new. You don't want to hear like the newer stuff. You know, you want to go out and hear what you heard when you got out of high school. So you want to hear the stuff that you grew up with, right? Whatever it was. And you don't want to hear all the new crap. And as bands, new bands that are out there now playing, if they're not playing that stuff to relate to their audience, there will be no audience. And as I see more and more, everybody says there's live music, live bands, local live bands kind of going away. In a way, they may be, because a lot of people that go out, or even, the younger kids now, they're out listening to some bass drum going boom boom boom, all this mumble rap, whatever it is, I don't know. They're listening to that stuff. That's not a sustainable audience, I don't think. And that's the problem with it. I don't think it's sustainable. So eventually you're going to have to get back to melody. And I think even AI actually does recognize this. They do understand that melody is a big part of what's needed in music. And is live bands going to die? Is live music going to die? As long as the older people age out and there is nobody behind them to pick it up, it may age out. But I don't think there's enough of that to actually say it's going to happen, because I do see kids coming in the shop. I do see kids coming in the shop, and they're playing. What was one? They were playing stuff like that. They're actually playing Pink Floyd, and it's like, wow, this is interesting. Why is an 18-year-old kid playing Pink Floyd? And then you talk to them and they say, yeah, I'm really into Pink Floyd. So bars and restaurants have recently pay cover bands. I need to look at that a little bit because I want to see it. It's Raleigh. I have friends in Raleigh. Let's see. Recently cut the pay for cover bands in the Raleigh, North Carolina. It's now a combination guaranteed pay plus percentage of sales during the show. Ooh. Did your video, dig your video, man? Said, oh, cool. We have some UK people. Cool. From over the pond. I appreciate you watching. Have I been on that side of the pond? No, I have not. I've always wanted to go over there. Trust me. It comes in waves. Yes. Okay. So you get the whole thing. But yeah, but that Raleigh thing kind of scares me. I had that happen one time, and I'll have this. You'll find this interesting because if you're dealing with that right now, years ago I played a place. Yes, I have friends in Raleigh. Yeah, I definitely do. I've actually worked in Raleigh actually before. So didn't play. I played in Asheboro last year, not far from there, and I stayed in Raleigh. But yeah, so there was a place we played years ago, and this place told us, yeah, you guys get, we're going to pay you $300. Mexico. All right, cool. Arriba la Dacia, or Arriba. No, what was it? Oh God, I have something for you. Viva la Mexico. No, Viva la Raza. That's what it was. That's what I was trying to remember. What Conan, the one of the famous Mexican wrestlers, used to say, and all the. Never mind. If you know who wrestling is, you'll wonder. Don't get me going wrestling again. But anyways, so we played this club. Go Pack. No. It's tequila. Oh, okay. Tequila. But so we're playing this club, and they say like $250 for the night for a duo. And we get done playing, and we had this big crowd around where we were playing. It's like big place, but this place was super, super long, really long. So there's a bar in the very back of the club, which we couldn't even see. And then there was a section kind of to the other side of us that we could see them. But they were pretty far away. So the club owner comes up and in the night, and he hands us a check for $150. And we're like, it's about $100 short. He says, no, that's correct. See, your section only brought this amount of money. You didn't bring anybody back to this section and back to this section. So you get paid for your section. We're like, no, that's not the way it works. He goes, what is in my bar? I said, well, you're the one that wanted us to play here. You reached out to us. I don't mind you sharing stories about you. Best paid. Okay. But so we argued with this guy for a long time. We told him, listen, you hired us to play your plays, and we are here to play at your place, and we did our part of our job. We agreed on a price. You're going to pay us this price. And at that point, my singer, who I was playing with at the time, was not a guy that you wanted to mess with. This guy, I saw him several times just knock guys out with one punch who decided they wanted to harass the band. And he proceeded to say, you're going to pay us the extra $100. He goes, otherwise, you're going to be paying for medical bills. And the guy said, oh, yeah, you think so? I looked at him, I said, yeah, dude, I wouldn't mess with him. He's not one you want to mess with. And the guys just, well, I'm taking that as a threat. I said, well, we can go get a lawyer and get a lawyer and talk to you about how you're trying to screw us some money. You'd get a lawyer? You'd pay for a lawyer? I said, half my family's lawyers. So you got a problem? And he was like, I get $100. So you pay us. All right. Do you have to get them to sign an invoice or something? Not usually. No, usually It's kind of just a handshake. There are some people that do that. If you're using an agent will definitely take the money and pay you out of that, but they also sign a contract with the agent. And we do have a couple of those that we do work with. Sharing a story about your best paid gig. Oh boy. Trying to think about that. Best paying gig. Hey man, I gotta think about that. I've had several of them are kind of the same price range, about $1,000 range. I've had several of those. So I don't know if any of them have been the best paying. So anyways, yeah, so we've had a few of them that were definitely in that range. So trying to think which was I hate to say this, I hate to sound like this, but I have played thousands and thousands of gigs. Thousands. I mean, crazy. I can tell you some of the most surprising gigs I played. I remember when I played in one club. This is kind of most embarrassing, actually. I'll give you that. I was playing in a club one time, and some girls pulled my pants down while I was on stage. I was freeballing it that night. We generally get $300 to $500, but usually free food. Okay, so is that as a band, or is that as a like per person, or is that as is that the whole band that gets paid that? Because I probably wouldn't go out and work for that. So anyway, yeah, generally now it as a band it's at least $1,000 a night. So the $300 to $500, I actually had somebody offer me one of those $100 gigs recently, and I said no. No, because you have to remember, like with me, I travel a lot for these gigs. It's not like I'm just walking down the street. It's generally I'm having to go a distance. Like the one that was like the $250 for the night, that was many years ago when money was $200 to $250 for a duo. No, that's a band. Wow, no, dude, I don't know how your band is, but that $300 to $500 in the food is not good. No, that's not good. That's I mean, my duo is getting my duo is getting more than that now. So, that's not good. That's just two of us. And then we get tips on top of that. I can tell you a funny story about the tip money. We played Dave. What we got here? Gas, talking. Yeah, exactly. No, yeah. Well, see, I will. I'll let you know if that one sells. Yeah, I'm traveling on Saturday night. I have to travel from here. I have to do 2 hours, almost 2.5 hours, just for my gig in Kissimmee. Because with Orlando traffic and everything, it takes me almost 2.5 hours to get there. And if I had to go over there for $75, $62.50, whatever it is, once you split it with the band, no, I'm not doing it. It's not going to happen. I'm not going to do it. I can go down the street and make, with tips and stuff, almost $300 just walking down the street from other gigs. Do you take requests for tips? Yes, of course. Mustang Sally. Yeah, of course we do. yeah, we'll do all that stuff, you know. Living on a sponge cake. We had our shit set up, play for 4 hours, tear down, drive home, get to bed at 4 o'clock. We had to get good tips, get through time. Yeah. I will tell you this. When I was on the road in the 80s, because I'm old. When I was on the road in the 80s, I remember playing in a band called Sex. And this band, you can actually, the singer plays with the band Jay and the Americans now. He played with, he was the lead singer for Paul Revere and the Raiders and the Righteous Brothers and a bunch of other people. The Letterman, that was another one he did play with. So he's done a lot of stuff and he gets paid pretty good money. But before that, we played in this band Sex and we traveled throughout the Southeast. And we would make $90 for 6 nights. $90 a piece. $90 a piece for the whole week. And let's say back then, I will tell you this is what we used to do. We would try to find the richest girl we could find that would buy us dinner for the night. And so we could eat. I mean, I lived on Pop-Tarts. Pop-Tarts were like my jam, man. I would get a box of Pop-Tarts and eat one in the morning and then eat one in, maybe in the afternoon around 4 o'clock. And that was my meal for the day. Needless to say, we were about this big. We were like really skinny. That's why so many of those rock bands back in the day were so skinny when they first started, because they weren't getting paid. I mean, just even playing covers, even though we were getting paid back then, I think we were getting paid $1,800 for the week. You get paid $1,800 for the week. But you had to pay your sound man and you had to pay your light man and you had to pay your crew to move your stuff around. So when you had to, once you paid, especially the sound guy was super expensive. You had to pay those guys because they brought the truck and they brought the whole PA and they did all this stuff and set up and tore down everything. They took a lot of money. I know the light guy alone was about $300 a week. So he got $300 off the bat. The sound guy generally worked for close to $1,000, I think. So that's $1,300 just right then gone, right off the top. You had $1,800. Then you had to pay. Oh, I forgot the agent. I had to pay the agent too. Had to pay the agent 15%. So they got their cut. And then you had to pay, whatever roadies you had to do that. And you went in, you played. We would generally start around 9 o'clock, and we would play till 1:30 or 2, whatever. I think it was close to 2 on most of those gigs. So you weren't paid a whole lot back in the day after you paid your expenses. Oh, we had a room too. I forgot about that. That's right. Some of the places didn't give you rooms, so you had to pay that as well. So some weeks you didn't even make that much money. I remember playing this place. We played in Tampa, and this guy, he talked us all into getting these hotel rooms. He goes, "Oh, you need to go stay at this place, the Siesta, Key or whatever." I don't know what it was. I don't remember, but it was this place. Well, this place was really expensive. I could have vintage guitar stories, definitely. But I know I talk about the gig stuff. But yeah, I stayed in this place. Basically, we paid for hotel rooms and we didn't get paid for the whole week. That was a really good one. But I love his saying. He used to tell him, he told us right at the beginning of the gig, if you're going to F me, at least kiss me first. Like, what? Oh boy. But anyways, vintage guitar stories. What would you like to know? I've got quite a bit of the vintage guitar stuff. I don't really. Why don't I have to bring some of that stuff out sometimes. I got one over here. You'll like this one. Let me grab this guitar. Anybody know what this is? Did you see it? Did you see it? I brought that one out there for you. All right, real quick. Something about that. We are the sound guy, we have the lighting guy, and our road crew. I have other income streams. Music doesn't even cover the expenses. Yeah, exactly. I agree. It doesn't cover them. What's the cheapest guitar I ever got? Okay, I know this one. This is easy. Actually, this is an easy one. I used to own a guitar shop in the 80s. It was a record and a guitar shop called the Guitar Exchange. And I had this lady walk into the shop one time, and she brings this guitar and she sticks it on the counter. It's a 1959 Les Paul Standard, natural. Nice natural top. It wasn't a fade or anything like that. It was actually natural. There was no stain, just the amber color. She brings it up, she sticks it on the counter, she says, I want $100, and I'm not going to take any less. I'm not going to take any more. I said, ma'am, this guitar is worth more than that. I don't give a crap. I said, ma'am, I'm telling you, I can't give you $100 for this guitar. She said, yeah, you can. If you don't, somebody else will. I said, man, it's worth way more than that. Even at that point, it's worth more than that. And she said, listen, the rotten son of a bitch cheated on me his whole life. Now he's dead, and I'm getting rid of his stuff, so he rolls all over, and this was his prized possession. I hit the cash register, opened the drawer, handed her the $100, took her name, said, thank you very much. Have a nice day. Took the guitar and picked up the phone, called a friend of mine up in New Jersey and said, hey, I got a 59 burst here. What were you thinking about it? What would you think? Send me some pictures. Took my Polaroid camera, took some pictures, sent it off to them. A week later, said, give you 11 grand. 11 grand. Gone. Because at that point, that's what they were really going for. All right, what you got here? What you got? How many are in your personal collection? The never for sale ones. Now, I had a whole bunch. I had over 100 or so. Now I don't. We're probably in the 60-something range. So, but these are the guitars I like. I like the guitars I play. I mean, if you guys here, let me get back there. You can kind of see some of this stuff back. So I got a Godin over there. It's an A6. I take that and I play that with my acoustic gig. This bass here is just a run-of-the-mill P bass that I use for my lessons. I have a ESP Flying V back over there, half black, half white. play that live. And then I've got my old girl that's been around since day one. That's an 89 PRS Custom 24 with a sweet switch. Those are the ones I have that I play a lot. And then you can see my other rig. That's an Egnator with I got a Mod 50 head under the cover. And then there's a pedal board up there above it that I use with that rig. Then the pedal board above that in the bag is what goes to the Egnator, which is over, or not the Egnator, but the Kemper over here. And then there's a Tonex and stuff like that up there that I have. So, and then what I'm actually playing through is my Quad Cortex. So that's when you hear me playing, that's what I'm actually using. So, yeah, that's in there. That's in there. Like I said, there's a lot, but that's not out here. I don't have that in here. Draw my damn pick again. Fumble figures. Go back to the pink one. Yeah, so that's stuff. Your NY is somewhere. NYC is in with the collection. So, and the best guitar you have ever played, and was it yours? Ooh, best guitar I ever played that wasn't mine. Golly, man. That's hard to say. I play a lot of guitars. I don't know. I really don't know. That's a really good question. That wasn't mine. I know I sat in with somebody one time that played their guitar, and it played really, really good. But who was it? I know I sat in with a band recently that they had a Les Paul Custom. This guy, Raleigh Estes, who's a guitar player that plays around Central Florida quite a bit. I played with his guitar. It's a Les Paul Custom. And I'm not a Les Paul guy. I used to be years ago, but I'm not anymore. And I remember playing his guitar and saying, "Man, this guitar actually plays really good." I do remember one of the guitars that I did play that was probably one of the best playing guitars. A guy by the name of Jim Dolfer had a 60, I think it was a 62 Strat, and it played really, really, really good. I mean, extremely good. Have you seen the new PRS? Yes, I have seen that. I've only seen pictures of it and stuff. But yeah, that probably is not for me. Not for me. Who are some collective you have been celebrities I have been on stage with? Neil Young. Who else? There's a few. The Bengals. Yeah, no problem answering this. It's always fun. Who else have I been on stage with? Been on a few, actually. Who else have I been? A lot. Who else have I? God, these questions. When it's funny when you start thinking about this stuff, you forget. I know my memory's jarring. I mean, the Neil Young thing was easy because that was kind of an oddball thing. The Bengals, I remember that because I got pulled up on stage and they were playing, and I grabbed the guitar and started playing it. But who else have that's famous? Celebrities. I played with Rick Emmett. That was kind of cool. Didn't play with him on stage. I did play with him backstage, me and Rick Emmett, Rick actually pulled me into the room where he was playing and had me sit down and actually gave me a lesson. That was cool. Got to sit down with Van Halen. That was cool. That, I mean, how can that make? I was like freaking out because I'm sitting next to Eddie Van Halen and playing. That was kind of weird. See you soon. All right, see you, Steph. Who else? I'm trying to think of all these people. I've done lots of openings for bands now, but being actually on stage with them, that's different. How about the loudest amp you have ever owned? Oh, that's easy. I had a Marshall Major. That was not mine. It was it was mine. I guess it was in my store. Marshall Major by far, loudest amp, bar none. So loud it was just unbearable. Can you describe your rig in the late 70s before rack? Late 70s. How old do you think I am? Have you had a chance to play or hold him? No, I did not. No, he sat in with us. That's the only reason I got to play with him. He sat in with us. But no, loudest amp. Now, my rig actually, when I was a kid, because 70s would have been, I was a little kid. I actually had a Marshall Super Lead with an 810 cabinet. That was my rig. And I ran a pig nose amp through it to get distortion. I thought something else going on. But yeah, so that was my rig when I was a little kid. I'm talking, I was a kid. I was like 14 or something. Now we're talking. Yeah. Did you jam with Rick Derringer? No, I did know Rick. Rick used to come in the shop. Yeah, I knew Rick. Knew Rick. I met him the very first time I met Rick. Neil Girardo was playing guitar with him, and Myron Grumbacher was playing drums. And they both went on and left. When they left Rick, they went to Pat Benatar. I was like a little kid when I met him back then, or a pretty little kid. I mean, I was young, probably about the time I had the Marshall, the whole 810 cabinet. If you watch my videos of some of the guitar shows, you'll see me talking about the big stuff. And the last guitar show I did, they had an 810 cabinet. I remember that rig. I don't miss that rig. I was young and strong, and that was a bear to pick up. A Marshall 810 cabinet was a beast. It's a beast to pick up. I remember sticking in the back of my mom's station wagon, driving around. Man. We have a station wagon. Wait, it might not have been a station wagon. What was that car? It had a trunk. Yeah, it had a trunk. It was in the back of the trunk of the car. It was a little bit later till we got the station wagon. But yeah. Anyways, yeah. So yeah, I've owned some good amps over the years. When I was on the road, I used I had a Hiwatt. So, and that was a Hiwatt 30 head. I remember actually doing a gig, and we did this show with another band, and he had a Marshall JCM 800, and I had the Hiwatt, and he was like, "Man, that is great, the greatest amp I've ever heard. You have to let me play through it." I said, "Well, let me play through your rig, and you play through my rig." So this next set, we alternated rigs because back then you had your pedal board really wasn't, you didn't have pedal boards. You just had a couple pedals sitting on the ground. I think back then I had a tube screamer, a chorus pedal, and that was it. Yeah, there's and maybe a wall pedal, and that's all I did. So all I had to do is switch my lines, and I had still had my chorus and my my TS9 and my little wall pedal. And really, not a lot of people were using delay back then. I think delay was a little bit too expensive for most of us to even afford. Memory mans were pretty popular with the rich folk, but now with us poor broke ass musicians who are trying to make a living or trying to get a record contract back then. Because now I'm going back into this stuff. Back when we were kids back then, unlike kids now just want to be on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok or Twitch or whatever. They want to be famous through that. Back when I was growing up, we were all striving for record contracts. So we were out playing, all these gigs all over the Southeast and wherever we could go. And, we were striving for a record contract, hoping that somebody would walk in the door and go, "You're signed." Not knowing that's not quite the way it worked. After we got signed, we found out that wasn't the way it was. When and how old did you happen to meet EVH? Okay, very funny story about that. I was in Las Vegas when I met Eddie the first time. We were in Las Vegas. I was out there with my mom and dad, and I was in the mall. They used to have a mall there. I don't even think that mall is still there. I mean, there's malls there, but I don't think this mall is still there. But I was in the mall, and before that, I met them at the pool, the Desert Inn. That's right. I met them at the pool, at the Desert Inn, which that's gone now, and met them at the pool. And I had actually met Alex Van Halen before that. I don't know what that says. Freemason. What? I don't know what a Freemason is. You tell me what that is. I don't know, Anthony. I don't know what a Freemason is. So, but I met them in Vegas. I met them by a pool. I got friendly with them. We went to the mall together. We were walking around the mall. I remember David being an ass to people in the mall and trying to get free stuff. And that was kind of weird. But then, like I said, I became friendly with them, and I got to go back to their hotel room, and Eddie had a guitar, or actually a couple of guitars, and he was, playing along, and he said, "Hey, sit down." So we just sat and we jammed. I felt like crap because he was way better than I was. But he was nice enough to sit there and play and do his thing. And then, later on that night, they had a show that they were playing in I don't think they were actually, they were playing the arena where the Utah Jazz used to play. So they went off and did their show. I don't think I could go for some reason. I could have went, but for some reason, I don't remember what it was, but I did not go to the show. But anyways, I got to hang out with Van Halen, and Van Halen played, and I got to actually sit and play with Van. They're actually, basically, I just probably went. No, I knew how to play, but I could, compared to him, I was like nervous as hell. New to your channel. What band are you in? I am in a couple of different bands. You can catch me with my acoustic duo tomorrow night. It was acoustic tomorrow night. I play in a band called the Occasional Astronauts, which plays around Central Florida. Fred Durst got to hang out with Van Halen or EVH. He should. He's a real person. And I played in a band called the Pit Road Pickers, which if you are a NASCAR fan, you might have heard that band before. We do play around in the NASCAR tracks throughout the country. You'll see me at many of the racetracks throughout. EVH hated him. Well, at least I can say EVH did not hate me. He was nice to me. I think most of the guys, actually the rock stars that I have met, besides Pat Travers, is like me. Pat didn't like me because I said some things to him that I shouldn't have said, but that's all good. That's another story. But yeah, Fred Durst, wow. That's another Jacksonville. That's a Jacksonville guy. Fred Durst, they're from not far from me. They're an hour from me. Limp Bizkit, I think they started out of Jacksonville. That's like Silverchair is another band that came out of Jacksonville. Jacksonville's had a lot of bands. Should just order some whiskey and drink some cocaine. That may have been Pat's problem. What's your guitar influence? Ooh. First influence, Ace Frehley. Second influence, Ted Nugent. Third influence, George Lynch. Third influence, Larry Carlton. Fourth influence, Alan Holdsworth. Eddie Van Halen. George Lynch. These are all my influences. Have I ever met George Lynch? Yes, a couple times. George, I actually have George's some personal information from him. Yeah, I have met George. George is a interesting character. At least he was back in the day. Now he's pretty normal, but back in the day, he was when he was all drunk or high or whatever. George is interesting. Definitely interesting. Now, I know I've told the story. If you listen to the channel before, I've told the story about him. Yeah, George is a monster on guitar, no doubt. George is funny. A friend of mine did a show with George and Billy Gibbons, and George was so freaked out about playing with Billy Gibbons, he couldn't believe it. It was like, oh, I'm playing with Billy Gibbons. Oh. Never met Zakk Wylde. I would like that. Zakk Wylde would like to meet. That's somebody I would like to meet. I will tell you this: the Pat Travers thing. The guy that I actually took the place of in the Occasional Astronauts was one of Pat's guitar players. Played with him for 10 years. Kirk McKim was with Pat Travers for 10 years, and then he ended up in this band I play in the Occasional Astronauts. He joined them, and I took his place. I'm not anywhere near as good a player as Kirk is. He's another one of these guys. I look at him, I just go, I don't get it. I don't know how you can be so good. It's hard to play Billy if you're all geeked out. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yo. That's funny you say that. When I went to Mexico the last time, this guy goes, "Hey man, yo."
Yayo? Yayo all night long. I'm like, huh? Come on, man. Yeah, come here. Compadre, come here. I'm like, what? Yayo. Give you some yayo. And I'm like, yayo? What's yayo? Talking about getting amped all up and everything and telling me it's going to keep me up all night long to keep the lady happy. I'm like, what? Oh boy. This guitar is out of tune. Let's hit the Quad Cortex tuner. Actually, this guitar needs new strings. I noticed that when I was playing it yesterday. By the way, if you want to know what kind of strings I use the D'Addario XTs. That's what I've been using. I was endorsed by Cleartone and Everly for many years. I was actually one of the first endorsees of DR. But I found these XT strings, and I was just like, I don't know, I fell in love with them, and I just subbed and liked. Awesome. Thank you very much, Anthony. Thank you. I appreciate that very, very much. Yeah, if you're here for the first time, please hit the like and subscribe button. Follow me along my journeys. I'm going to post a video from my cruise. I just did a cruise. I went out and actually bought guitars on my cruise. I didn't post that whole thing, but I do have. I'm going to post a video of a really cool guitar player that I did videotape him. I also have a little thing talking about a music store that I went in, interviewed them, and I'll post some other stuff as well. So, post videos from Mexico. I already do. I already have videos from Mexico. They are on my other channel. If you watch my other channel, it's called Florida Fun and More. You can find the videos from Cancun. No, not Cancun. Cozumel, Costa Maya, and where else? There's somebody else somewhere else. I can't remember the other one, but those two are there. I will say this: Costa Maya. I feel sorry for people that has to live down there. I didn't see where. I mean, it just looked like almost like a third world country down there. Cabo Wabo. Yeah, I'd like to go down there and actually go see Sammy again and hang out with him. Sammy's cool. Sammy he's a trip, man. We sat there and we just talked about surfing and talked about car racing and not music. It was great. He's absolutely very, very cool. He's one of the coolest people. Out of the rock stars, besides Gary Hoey, bar none, is the nicest rock star that you'll ever meet. If you ever get a chance to meet Gary Hoey, meet Gary Hoey. He's salty there, sweetest guy you'll ever meet. He's by far the one I meet. I text Gary all the time. But Sammy, I would say the first impression of meeting Sammy was like, how can this guy be so nice? Yes, Gary Hoey is a beast on guitar. And he's humble about it too. That's what makes me sick. He's so humble. Gary's another guy, not afraid to show you. If you want to ever learn something, Gary will sit down and teach you how to play whatever you want to learn. He's not afraid to share tricks with you by any means. But anyways, it is 9:00. Holy crap. We've already gone by an hour. That went by really fast. I really do appreciate everyone that hit the like and subscribe button and became part of the channel and watched tonight. We had a good crowd tonight. A lot of good questions, a lot of cool stuff. We'll do this every Wednesday night at 8:00, unless I have a gig that I have to go play or whatever. But I'll be here every Wednesday night, 8:00, and we'll do this again next week. Later, Anthony. Nice talking to you. Thanks for all the cool questions and stuff. And till next time, guys, Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend, and happy 4th of July to everyone that is here in the States. And God bless America. Viva la raza! To my buddies over there.